was a very unique ceremony. I mean, it really was like everything, even from the reception and the fact that there wasn't a first kiss. And so, I mean, I think it was amazing. I think it was special. You guys had a little hey, hey, hey there at the end.
3 hays, not 2.
Right. I think we can probably pry it out of you.
I don't think you can keep a secret.
Oh, the dare is on.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. This day is Friday, November 4th, 2022, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. We are going to take a little bit of a break from the Sister Wives and jump on over to a story that came out a few days ago about Jinger Duggar and one of her family friends from when she was growing up speaking out about her new book. Now, the individual that is speaking out, her name is Mary. She actually is a friend of the family. Her father was pretty high up in the IBLP. I've actually had a chance to get to know Mary over the last several years, and she is an amazing woman and has invaluable insight about Ginger's journey and what we might be able to expect from this book. Now, I know a lot of people say that this is going to be an underwhelming book, and they claim that her ghostwriter of this book is someone that's with the Master's Seminary, and it will just be them dictating why Jeremy's belief system under John MacArthur is better than what she grew up with under Bill Gothard. I think there might be some truth to that. I don't discount that this could be filled with propaganda for the John MacArthur faith system, but I think people might underestimate just how impactful and how insulting this will be to Jim Bob and Michelle, because none of their kids other than Jill and Derek have really come out and said they don't believe in the IBLP anymore, and you see where they live today. They're shunned on Shun Island. And this is the fundamental belief system the Duggars have created their entire life around. They've written books around the IBLP belief systems. They are keynote speakers for the IBLP. They're a huge draw in the IBLP. They've recruited thousands of people to the IBLP, and most of their friends are members of the IBLP. So for a book to be written that dissects why the way that someone grew up under Gothard is bad, it's kind of a slap in the face. To Jim Bob will take that as a slap in the face. Everyone with brains knows that Gothard's teachings are wholly flawed and extremely problematic, to say the least. So let's dive into why Ginger's childhood friend thinks that she is at risk of being shunned because of her new book. Before we jump into this, can you do me a big favor and give this video a thumbs up? Also, please consider subscribing to my channel if you have not yet subscribed. You can do so by clicking the subscribe button. It is totally free, and hit that on the way out. Turn the bell on, or ring the bell, let's just say, so that you never miss a video and get notifications. And leave some comments if you have something to say. I always love to hear your point of view. Let's start with this. So the book is set to be released in January, and we've already seen a video come out by Jinger Duggar which says that his dad is a very humble man, that they're not brainwashed at all, not brainwashed, and that he has a mind of his own, that his parents are great people, that he's so thankful for the way that he was raised. They weren't perfect, but he's so glad. And I think as the weeks ramp up for the release of this book, you're going to hear that directly more from Duggar camp. So her book, which is titled Becoming Free Indeed, is all about her experience growing up under the IBLP. So Mary, who actually grew up in the IBLP, her father, Dodie Murphy, he was like the medical dude in the IBLP. She was actually shunned and excommunicated from the church when she started questioning the Institute and Basic Life Principles religion. And she said that the same thing could likely happen to Jinger when the book is released. So this is what Mary said. Jim Bob and Michelle's reaction to the book will depend on the contents of the book, as well as the approach. Is the memoir a tell-all? Will Jinger call Michelle and Jim Bob out? If so, the likelihood of Jim Bob shutting Jinger out and cutting her off raises. So she might not call them out, but there was something in her book that I thought was a little interesting, because one aspect is she eagerly submitted to the umbrella of authority. Any disobedience of parents would place her outside of God's protection. So she is saying that there's this fear that if you step outside of the umbrella, God's protection is gone. And that creates a standard of fear, that she lived convinced that obeying that rule would make her successful in life. And they even wrote a book about it. So I don't know how much she's going to go into detail about what that felt like at home, but if she does, that definitely, I agree, would cause consternation in her relationship with Jim Bob. But I want to be clear, I don't feel like Jinger and Jim Bob have a very close relationship at this point at all. In fact, I believe that Jinger rarely goes back home to Arkansas, and when she does, she's not there for very long. And when anyone goes and visits her in California, it's never her father. So there's already a sense to me that the relationship has fractured. And other sources I've talked to have said that Jinger is partially, at this point, shunned, whatever that means. And Mary continued by saying this: however, if Ginger's book does not hurt the family image or the facade of perfection, then I don't expect Jim Bob to cut her off. I am eager to read the book. I imagine Jinger is a few years into this journey. In another 10 years, there will be another book, because it is a long journey. A lot of people did say that, Ginger's at the very beginning of letting go of the IBLP belief system. And someone in my comments a while ago said, it would be really astounding if someday one of the Duggar kids actually writes a book and says, I'm not believing in any of this. All of this was a farce, or I'm an atheist, or if in 10 years she says what John MacArthur taught is wrong. If you're moving from one strict belief system to another, is this the right one just because that's what people are telling you, or is this what you actually feel? But Mary contends that she's proud and happy for Jinger, and that stepping forward to tell your own story represents a vital part of taking your agency back and finding your voice, which I'm actually totally in agreement with. The fact that she's even daring to write a book on this topic is a big step. And people might want all of the dirt, but you have to consider this is baby steps for these kids. Like, they're adults now, but they've been brainwashed from a time they were very young. And for them to, even say the IBLP is wrong is a huge step. As far as if Mary's surprised if Jinger is breaking free about it, she says, I'm not surprised at all that she's breaking free. I hope all of them will come to a point of seeing the truth and stepping out into freedom. I'm not surprised. I'm super happy for her as she continues to move forward and heal. She continued that everyone's journey is going to be different. With each one that does break free, the pressure on the others becomes more intense. I do think it's probable. It's just going to take some time. So it is very difficult. I've spoken to a lot of people that have left the IBLP and have left fundamentalism like that. And they do say that it's not frequent that all siblings leave the group. It's more common that it's a couple outliers. So right now you're seeing a few outliers that have left the belief system, but there's still the majority still in. So, it's hard to leave like everything that you know. And then when you step away from the IBLP and you realize that it's a lie, you have to admit to yourself that everything you knew about life from the beginning of your birth till the time of your wherever you are when that happens wasn't true. Everything you knew about the world is false. Everything that they taught you is a lie. And it really messes with people's identities, and it causes sort of an identity crisis. And you have to relearn and sort of rethink and retool and learn how to think for yourself. And that's not easy, because thinking for yourself is not allowed. Critical thinking is not allowed in the IBLP. Mary credits Ginger's attire as one of the steps that might have helped her. It says, the more outside influences and voices help you see what life is like on the outside, even traveling nationally and having that separation to put input in from other sources. Starting to see, wait, this is not how life is like in my house. What's going on here? Starting to ask those questions. Mary was proud of the statements that they made. And as far as what Mary said about herself and her journey, you know, something that we've not talked a ton about on this channel is the stay-at-home daughter movement. And it's basically where one of the daughters stays home and their job is to take care of the kids and the family and the home and be sort of like the second in line to mom and serve their husband, which is their dad, and make sure that everyone is taken care of. So this is what Mary said about her experience. She said, I was a stay-at-home daughter until my mid-20s. I began to see in my own family the hypocrisy between the facade we put into the world and what went on at home. As I began to see that in my own mind and my heart and life, I started pushing back against that. My parents saw that they were going to lose control of me. That was very important for them to maintain control of me in order to protect their reputation and facade. I was shunned and excommunicated from the cult. That's when I lost touch with the Duggar girls specifically. So, you know, every single family, there's a lot of families that go through a lot in this world, and Bill Gothard teaches about perfection, and it's all about being perfect and becoming the most perfect person. And it's, you know, it's set up in a world where women are, if they have a problem with their husband, they have to follow rules, you know, they have to make a wise appeal to their husband. So if their husband's cheating on them, they have to make an appeal to their husband first about cheating and ask them to stop or whatever the behavior is. You know, some husbands in this world take things to very dark extremes in terms of like where they'll go with their wives, as far as whether it's in the bedroom, whether it's physically getting aggressive. You know, they do treat women like property, and because women have to appeal to their husbands to stop whatever it is that they're doing that's wrong, the husband has the agency to say no, and then she will then look at that as, oh my God, this is my fault that he said no because I wasn't faithful enough, so it must be my fault that I made the wrong appeal to him, and therefore I need to try harder. It puts women in a situation where they can't win. They always will blame themselves. They'll be blamed if something happens. Well, the fact that I blew up at you is because you stepped out of my umbrella of authority and I had to react to save you from the depths of Satan. Women are in a lose-lose situation, and a lot of you pointed out that it's easy for Jed Duggar to say what he says because the girls in the IBLP and the Duggar family live in a different world than the boys. They have a completely different experience. Men are groomed to be leaders, headships, patriarchs, have no limits, have total authority, and women are taught to submit, obey, be joyfully available, not talk back, keep a sweet countenance and happy face. And, you know, they lose agency, no personal agency. And so even if you are disappointed by Ginger's book, you just have to understand what a big moment it is for her in that respect, and love her or hate her, the fact that she's doing this, I, for one, applaud. It's not easy to step out of the shadows, per what Mary says, and I'm glad that Mary herself is starting to step out of the shadows. Her podcast is wonderful. The advocacy work that she does for other people on her Out of the Shadows page on Instagram, and really just everything that she talks about, from, you know, parents leaving this group to trying to get custody, to dealing with, you know, the divorces because she's divorced. There's a lot of things that happen when you leave the belief system, and a lot of times when women divorce it from their arranged marriages, there's a lot of kickback, and she does a lot of advocacy around that. So good job for Mary for speaking out, and we'll just have to continue to wait and see what Ginger's book does with the Duggar family. Expect more damage control coming soon. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.